Hello all, hope you are all doing well. In the last class we have started our 14th lesson, that is national movement in India. So I'll revise what I taught you in the last class. So our first topic was, should Indians support British in World War II? So we have started with the right of Congress to contest in elections. So as I told you in the last class, the Government of India Act of 1935 gave Indians the right to participate and contest in the elections, provincial elections of 1937. So the Congress, which was a political party during the independence movement, those leaders started participating and contesting in provincial elections. So some of them, as I told you, 8 out of 11 provinces were won by Congress ministries. So later we talked about Congress's demand for full freedom. Those who all got elected to the Congress ministries and provincial assemblies, those Congress leaders demanded British for full freedom, that is complete independence to India. But what British did not accept the Indians' request for full freedom. But what they told, if you support us in World War II, after the World War II ends, we will give you Dominion status. Dominion status means the India will be under the British dominance. That means Indians can rule themselves, but any decision if they want to take, they have to ask for the permission of British. So that is Dominion status. So if Indians supported British in World War II, they promised of giving Dominion status. But what Indians wanted, they did not want Dominion status. They wanted complete freedom. So afterwards, we talked about World War II. During World War II, when the World War II started in 1939, the British got special wartime powers. Means, like I said in the last class, if there is a curfew imposed in any area, the government will get some special powers to maintain discipline in the country. So like that only. During World War II, British also got special wartime powers. So if anyone is not listening to what the government said, the British got the right to arrest all those people. So like that only, after the World War II has started in 1940 and 41, Indians started individual protests. Means they started fighting against the British rule and demanded for independence, that is full freedom. They organized satyagrahas. Satyagrahas means movements or any kind of protests which did not have any violence. So non-violent protests are called satyagrahas. So individual protests and small groups of people joining together to organize the satyagrahas. So when Indians are doing this all protests and satyagrahas, the British started arresting people at a large scale. So mass arrests have taken place with special wartime powers the British got during the Second World War. Now the next question that comes up in the Indian national movement is, who represents the people of the country? Representation means, as I told you in the last class, leading people. Representation also means that if there are a group of people, one leader will act or speak on behalf of all the group. So if, for example, there is your class and there is your class leader, you have a class leader, right? So in that way, if you want, all your class want to tell anything to your teacher or the principal, what you will do, the class leader will go and talk to the principal or the teacher on behalf of all your classmates. All your classmates don't need to go together and talk about your problems. So one person who is acting on behalf of all the people of their group is representation. So now the question that arises in Indian national movement is, who will represent all the Indians to the British government? So who will talk or ask the government on behalf of all the Indians on their issues? So for example, your class and I am your class leader. So what I will do, if there are any problems in our class, so I will ask all of you what all are your problems and what I have to tell to the teacher. So I will go to the teacher and tell these and these problems are there in our class, please solve them. Or if I want to tell anything, if you all want to tell anything on behalf of you all, I will go and talk to the teacher. So that is called representation. That like that, the Indian people who wanted to fight for freedom and who are fighting for freedom have to have a representative. Representative is a person who is representing, who is leading or talking on behalf of all the people. So now the question that comes before Indians is, who will represent all Indians in front of the British government, asking them for complete independence. Until now in India, there was only one political party or political group that has been leading Indian independence movement since its formation, that is from 1885. The Congress has been leading the Indian national movement, that is, it is representing the people of India for full attaining independence. So Congress was the only party, but in 1940 and 41 there were individual protests and satyagrahas, I told you, no. So those protests are by different groups. They might not be led by Congress. So what Congress has to do now? The Congress has to get all the groups together to build a mass protest. Means we have to join all the groups to make the large number of people to come together to protest. Protesting means telling what you want, demanding what you want from the government. So in that situation, what happened was, British was upset of Indians revolting against its own government. So British was not happy that Indians are against or fighting against the British rule. So then what they did, they started divide and rule policy. So with this divide and rule policy, what they did was, they divided the whole country into small parts and they started governing or ruling them like small parts. Like as I told you, that was divide and rule policy was initiated before World War II only. But during this 1940 and 41, when the protests are happening, they used this policy to divide people into different groups. They did not allow the people to join together and stay together and fight together. So if the numbers are being divided and if you have less number of people, you will not have powerful voice, no. If large number of people come together only, people will have more power to ask the government or fight against it. But if there are only small number of groups, they will not have that much power to fight. So like in that thought, the British started dividing people. In that process, what British did, it started questioning the right of representation of the Congress. It said that it asked all the Indians and all the people that, it started saying the people that Congress is not representative of all people. It said that Congress is not representing Muslims and other minorities, but they are only representing the majority, that is the Hindu population. They are not considering the problems of Muslims and other minorities. So it started spreading this fake news. though Congress was trying to represent all the communities and all the groups of sections of people, the British started publicizing this news that Congress is not representing all the people. So that is why, taking that as the advantage, what British did, it applied divide and rule policy even more strongly. That it divided the Muslims into different electorates. Electorates means in the place, the area which will have a separate council and separate elections for itself. So it started dividing Muslims into different electorates. Now Muslim people started believing that Congress is not representing them. So that is why they were supporting British, that they were creating separate Muslim electorates, so that what will happen, Muslims will have powerful voice to represent their own problems and tell the British their problems. So that taking that as advantage, Muslims also supported separate electorates for them, and they started demanding that only Muslim people will vote for Muslim leaders in those particular electorates. So in that process, when British wanted to divide different sections of people into different groups, and when they are not allowing the people to join hands to fight against the British rule, they started encouraging and supporting the demands of separate electorates for Muslims. So in that process only, it encouraged Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He was an important Muslim leader in Indian national movement, in the last phase of Indian national movement. He was the leader of Muslim League, which I will be talking about in a few seconds. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah, British started encouraging and supporting him to form a different political party which is separate from Congress to represent Muslims. So like that, in that process, the Muhammad Ali Jinnah and some of his other friends and other leaders joined together and formed the Muslim League. Muslim League is a political party which represents the interests of Muslims in British ruled India. So this Muslim League was formed in 1906. Okay, it was formed in 1906, but it was not popular in all over the country until 1930s. So when Muslim League was formed, it started demanding separate electorates for Muslims, because when the leaders of Muslims are participating along with the Hindu leaders, what will happen? Because the Hindus are majority in number, they are more than Muslims in number. So what will happen? Hindus will elect only Hindu leaders and Muslims will not be elected. That is why what Muslim League demanded was, they want separate electorates in which only Muslim leaders will participate or contest in elections and only Muslim voters will vote for them. So in that case, Muslim leaders only will be elected, Muslim leaders only will win the elections. So that is why they wanted separate electorates in order to protect themselves from the majority of Hindus. So here you know what is majority and minority. Majority means the group of people of one section of society who are in large number than the other group, other sections of society. So now in India, Hindus are majority. Hindus are more in number than Muslims. So Muslims are minority. So in that situation, after the Muslim League was formed and it demanded separate electorates, the separate electorate started in India, British India, from 1909. So from 1909, Muslims had separate electorates and separate councils for governing or ruling themselves. So afterwards, in Before that, Muslim League, when it was formed in 1906, it was only popular in among the landlords of Uttar Pradesh. So when it was formed, it was not popular all over India. It later on, in 1930s, it started becoming popular all around India. But when it started as a political party, it was only popular among the landlords, Muslim landlords of Uttar Pradesh. So when we talk about 1937 provincial elections, the Muslim League also started contesting elections, provincial assembly elections. So out of 482 Muslim seats, means Muslim seats are reserved only for Muslim people to win, Muslim leaders to win. So out of 482 Muslim seats, Muslim League won 102 seats. Though it is not high in number, since that was the only first election, Muslim League has achieved good results only. So, but only 4.4% of Muslim votes it got. That means 4.4% is very less number of votes. They won 1 or 2 seats, but they got very less votes. And in that same elections, Congress also contested for 58 Muslim seats, out of which it won 26 seats. So now from 1906 till 1937, Congress realized and started thinking that it should not restrict itself for Hindus. It started claiming itself as, that means saying that it is a national party which will represent all communities, and it will not only represent Hindus, it will also represent Muslims. So while trying to say that it will represent all the Indians and it is a national party, it also contested in for 58 Muslim seats in 1937 elections, and it won 26 seats out of this. And so as I told you, later on from 1906, when it was popular only in Uttar Pradesh, until 1937, after this 1937 elections, it started becoming popular. Muslim League became popular in United Provinces of Madras and Bombay, and it was weak in Northwest Frontier. Northwest Frontier is frontier provinces now in Pakistan. So it was weak in that province, Bengal and Punjab. So it was only, it became popular only in United Provinces of Bombay and Madras, and it had to become popular in these 3 provinces, Northwestern Frontier, Bengal and Punjab provinces. Muslim League was also weak in Sindh province. Sindh province is near Punjab and now Pakistan, so it shared those areas. So it was weak in Sindh province also. So when in 1937 elections, while it was weak, coming 10 years later, that is in 1947 and 1946 and 47, that is in 9 and 10 years, it became very popular. So how it became that popular and what all they did in that 10 years to become popular, we will discuss in the next class. But before that, if you all have your textbooks, if you all have your textbook, it's fine. Otherwise also, you will find the PDF of your textbook in Google or any website. So download them from the net and try to answer the questions in orange boxes. Read the lesson and try to answer these questions. You don't need to write it anywhere. Read the lesson and try to think of answers. So when you try and answer these questions, you will have more clarity on the lesson. Okay. Also, there is a letter to Adolf Hitler. Hitler was the fascist ruler of Germany during World War II. So Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi wrote a letter to Hitler. So read this also. This is not related to your lesson, but you will understand what fascism means. In the last class I told you what fascism is and what Gandhi is trying to tell to Hitler, that you will know. So in the next page also you have 2 orange boxes. Try to read the lesson and try to answer these questions. So we will discuss the next following topics in the next class. Thank you.